rational functions are things that we found in the middle of chapter 3, but finding x and y intercepts were way back in section 2.1. If I want to find the x-intercept of a graph, then I'm going to set y equal to 0 and solve for x. When I have a fraction equal to 0, that means I'm really just worried about the top. And the top here is 0 when x equals -3. I do always want, and again, this was written in your announcements in things on your homework. Oh gosh, come on. I need them as ordered pairs if you want full credit. Okay. For the y-intercepts of a graph, any graph in the world, I plug in 0 for x, and I see what comes out for y. Okay. So the y-intercept is 0, -6. Now the vertical asymptotes of a graph happen any place that the bottom is 0 but the top is not. And so x equals 1 makes that fraction undefined. It makes the bottom 0. But notice if I plug 1 into the top for x, I get 8. I don't get 0. So here's my vertical asymptote. When we're looking for horizontal asymptotes, we're checking the degree of the polynomials top and bottom. And when they're the same, then my horizontal asymptote is the ratio of the leading coefficients, meaning y equals 2 over 1, or y equals 2, is my horizontal asymptote. When you sketch a graph, okay, if you wanted full credit on this, you had to sketch me the graph of what your work said, not what your calculator said, meaning I needed to see an intercept at -3, 0, at 0, -6. We had a vertical asymptote at x equals 1. We have a horizontal asymptote at y equals 2. Now officially, and I didn't get too nasty if people didn't do this, but just because we have a horizontal asymptote, it is possible, and some graphs touch or cross their asymptote. And so we do have to take a minute to make sure that we know where that happens if it does. Okay. When we get a statement like -2 equals 6, that means, well, there's no solution to that, which means when I start coming this way from my graph, I'm not going to touch or cross that asymptote. It's just going to keep going. Okay. Touching, or crossing a vertical asymptote is not an option from the start. We always know it's going to approach. Okay. But then the next problem is, where do I put this side of the graph? And if you wanted full credit on that, I needed to see that you did some sort of work to tell me how you knew where that other point went. So if I pick a number bigger than 1, I just at my desk used x equals 2. Then the y value would be 4 plus 6 over 2 minus 1. And so here at x equals 2, I'd be way up here at 10. Okay. Again, I'm going to come down this way. I'm cutting off my graph there. And this isn't a super beautiful graph, but I needed the right shape. But a lot of you had things that look like this on your test. Okay, definitely, even if you told me it went through the point 210, this is not 210 down here. Okay, maybe I'll put purple X through that. 210 is up here. So if you told me a point and then your graph didn't go through that point, you didn't get full credit. But I needed to see that you knew. Again, we don't touch across this thing, we don't touch across that thing, so 1 point is plenty to know the shape of that graph. And your sketch doesn't have to be perfect, but it has to correlate with the work that you did up here, along with anything else that you showed me to try to fill in the missing pieces.